Phase 1. The Hook, Scene. A vast, silent desert under a bruised twilight sky, reminiscent of Dolly. A single, ornate grandfather clock stands half buried in the sand, its hands moving backwards. The camera slowly pushes in on the clock face. Voiceover. Have you ever built something beautiful in your life, only to feel a strange, quiet compulsion to set it on fire? A promising career. A loving relationship. A newfound discipline. It stands before you, a testament to your effort, a cathedral of your own making. And then, from a part of you that you do not recognize, a whisper comes. An impulse. To miss the deadline. To pick the fight. To break the promise. You are not merely making a mistake. You are engaging in a precise and devastating act of self-betrayal. We will call this phenomenon, the architect of your own ruin. It is the sense that there is a ghost in your own machine, a saboteur living in your own house. Stay with me through this session. I promise you, by the end, you will not only understand who this architect is, but you will learn how to meet them, face to face. And you will discover that this saboteur, this monster that haunts your waking life and stalks your dreams, is not your enemy. It is the most vital, misunderstood, and powerful part of you. It is your salvation in disguise. Phase 2. The Problem, Scene. The desert landscape dissolves into a Magritte-style room. A man in a bowler hat stands with his back to us, looking at a painting of the back of his own head. A door on the far wall is slightly ajar, leaking a thick, dark smoke. Voiceover. Let us be precise. This is not about simple failure. This is about the uncanny feeling of being a passenger in your own body as it steers you toward the cliff's edge. You have a pivotal presentation tomorrow. You have prepared for weeks. You are brilliant, you are ready. And you find yourself at 3 a.m., eyes wide, scrolling through an infinite feed of meaningless images, a cold dread in your stomach. You are watching yourself dismantle your own success, brick by brick, and you cannot seem to stop. You are both the saboteur and the helpless witness. Or consider the landscape of love. You have found someone who sees you, who offers you the safety you have craved. And in the midst of a peaceful moment, a venomous, critical thought about them arises, unbidden. A suspicion. A cruel word forms on your tongue, a word designed to wound, to test, to push them away. You speak it. And in the silence that follows, you ask yourself, who was that? Who just spoke? It was your voice, but not your will. This is the internal signature of the architect of ruin, a deep, unnerving sense of alienation from your own actions. It feels like possession. A brief, psychotic break from the person you believe yourself to be. The immediate cost is obvious: the lost job, the broken trust, the failed project. But the hidden cost, the one that corrodes the soul, is far more severe. With each act of self-sabotage, you erode your own self-trust. You begin to see yourself as fundamentally flawed, unreliable, a danger to your own happiness. You divide yourself into two. There is the good you, the conscious you, the one who wants to succeed and love and be whole. And then there is the other, the dark, impulsive, irrational stranger who seems bent on your destruction. You declare war on this stranger. You try to suppress it, to shame it, to starve it into submission with discipline and positive thinking. But you have made a catastrophic mistake in your diagnosis. You have misidentified the enemy. This war you are waging is a civil war. The stranger you are trying to kill is a citizen of your own psyche. And the more violently you fight them, the more powerful they become. The smoke seeping from under that door is not a sign of an intruder. It is the smell of your own house burning down. Phase 3. The Solution, Scene. The camera moves through the smoky doorway into a vast, subterranean library. The books have no titles. In the center, a single lantern illuminates a circular mirror on a pedestal. At first, the mirror shows the viewer's reflection, but then it clouds over, and a monstrous, shadowy figure begins to take shape within it. Voiceover. To understand this stranger, we must leave the brightly lit rooms of our conscious ego and descend into the deep stacks of the psyche. And for this journey, our guide is the great cartographer of the soul, Carl Jung. Jung gave this stranger a name. He called it the shadow. The shadow is the unknown, dark side of the personality. It is everything that we, for one reason or another, have chosen to disown. It is the repository for all the parts of ourselves that we deem unacceptable, inferior, or evil. Imagine your consciousness as a single, well-lit room. From early childhood, you begin to furnish this room. Your parents, your teachers, your culture, they all tell you what furniture is acceptable. Kindness, you are told, is good furniture. Put it in the room. Politeness, cooperation, diligence, bring them all in. But what about the other things? Your anger? Your aggression? Your envy? Your raw, untamed sexuality? Your so-called laziness, which is perhaps just a deep need for stillness. This is unacceptable furniture. It clashes with the decor. So, what do? You take it, piece by piece, and you cast it out of the room, down into the basement of your unconscious. This is the birth of the shadow. It is a gathering of exiles. And it is a living, breathing part of you. To truly grasp this, we must understand its fundamental principles. First, the principle of psychological gravity. Voiceover. What you repress does not vanish. It is not deleted. It is simply relocated. And in the darkness of the unconscious, these repressed qualities begin to constellate. They clump together, forming a kind of psychic black hole, a center of immense, unseen gravity. Your rage, your ambition, your vulnerability, all the things you've told yourself you are not, are orbiting down there in the dark. This is the architect of ruin. It is not an alien force. It is the accumulated weight of your own disowned self. This is why self-sabotage feels so compulsive. The gravitational pull of the shadow becomes so immense that it can hijack your conscious will. That night you spent scrolling instead of sleeping? That was the shadow, pulling you away from the good, disciplined self you were trying so hard to be. It was the exiled part of you screaming, "You're more than just this diligent machine. You are also wild, and chaotic, and you need rest." It sabotages your conscious plan not out of malice, but in a desperate, clumsy attempt to be seen, to bring the entire system back into balance. Second, the principle of projection. Seen. The camera zooms into the monstrous figure in the mirror. It dissolves, and the mirror now shows a series of faces: an arrogant boss, a manipulative politician, a lazy friend. As each face appears, a faint, ghostly overlay of the monster's features appears on top of them. Voiceover. The ego, the conscious self, cannot bear to look at the shadow directly. It is too painful, too frightening. So, it develops a brilliant and devastating defense mechanism: projection. What you cannot accept in yourself, you will despise in others. The shadow is invisible to you, so you hang it on the hooks of other people. The world becomes your cinema, and you project your own inner monster onto the screen of everyone you meet. Think of that person who fills you with an irrational, almost chemical, rage. The arrogant colleague. The self-righteous activist. The person who is too emotional. Why do they affect you so profoundly? It is because they are embodying a piece of your own exiled self. The part of you that you have forbidden from expressing itself. You hate the arrogant man because you have repressed your own ambition, your own desire to be recognized, deeming it unspiritual or unhumble. You despise the lazy person because you have locked your own need for rest and play in the basement, whipping yourself into a state of constant, joyless productivity. Projection is a signpost. The people who trigger you most intensely are messengers. They are pointing directly to the contents of your own shadow, to the gold you have buried in the dark. Your outrage is a map. And third, the principle of integration. Seen. The shadowy figure in the mirror extends a hand out of the glass. The hand is not monstrous, but human. It is holding a single, rough, uncut diamond. Voiceover. Here we arrive at the heart of the work. The goal is not to defeat the shadow. An army that fights its own shadow is an army that will exhaust itself fighting phantoms and die in the darkness. The goal is to integrate it. To integrate the shadow means to turn, face it, and reclaim the exiled parts of yourself. It means understanding that every quality you have banished into the dark has a corresponding strength. Your banished aggression holds the key to healthy boundaries and assertiveness. Your banished rage holds the energy to fight injustice. Your banished fear holds the wisdom of caution and discernment. Your banished sexuality holds the fire of creativity and life itself. The monster in your dream is not there to kill you. It is guarding a treasure. And the treasure is a more whole, more powerful, more authentic version of you. The analogy is this: the shadow is a wild, magnificent black horse that you have locked in the basement of your house. For years, you have pretended it doesn't exist. But you can hear it. It kicks at the foundations, it whinnies in the night, it smashes everything you store down there. It is terrifying. You think it is a monster. But it is not a monster. It is a horse. And its wildness is not evil, it is its nature. It is destructive because it is contained. Your task is not to kill the horse. Your task is to build a relationship with it. To learn its language. To slowly, carefully, open the basement door, let it out into the sun, and learn to ride it. Once you do not just silence the destructive noise. You gain the power and vitality of the horse itself. This is the energy you feel in people who are truly alive, grounded, authentic, charismatic. They have made peace with their horse. They have integrated their shadow. Phase 4. The application, scene. We are now in a quiet, minimalist study. A single candle burns on a wooden desk. A blank journal lies open. Outside the window, the Dali-esque landscape is visible, but it seems less threatening, bathed in a soft dawn light. Voiceover. To speak of integration is one thing. To practice it is another. This is not an intellectual exercise, it is a courageous, practical art. It requires discipline and a willingness to feel uncomfortable. Here is your workshop. Here are the tools to begin this great work. I will give you 4 concrete steps. Do not merely listen to them. Practice them. Step 1. The Shadow Journal. For the next 7 days, you will become a detective of your own psyche. Your mission is to find the footprints of the shadow in your daily life. Before you sleep each night, open a journal and write down your findings in 3 categories. First, your projections. Document the moments of disproportionate emotional reaction. Who annoyed you today? Who angered you? Who did you judge harshly, either out of loud or in the privacy of your mind? Be specific. It was not just, my boss. It was, the arrogant way my boss dismissed my idea. Write down the specific trait. Second, your mistakes. Document your slips of the tongue, your accidents, your moments of self-sabotage. The sarcastic comment you didn't mean to make to a loved one. The crucial email you forgot to send. The junk food you ate after a week of discipline. Do not judge these moments. Simply record them, like a scientist observing a strange phenomenon. What were you feeling right before the slip? Third, your dreams. Document the figures that appear in your dreams. Especially the ones that frighten you, pursue you, or oppose you. A shadowy man in a hat. A pack of wolves. A critical teacher from your childhood. A faceless entity. Describe them in detail. What do they look like? How do they make you feel? Again, do not interpret. Just observe and record. This journal is your raw data. It is the beginning of your map. Step 2. The art of projection reversal. At the end of the week, review your journal, specifically the section on your projections, the traits that infuriated you in others. Now, perform a courageous imaginative act. Take one of those traits. Let's say it was the arrogance of your colleague. Sit quietly and ask yourself this sacred and difficult question. Where does this exact quality live in me? Your ego will immediately scream, it doesn't. I am not arrogant. I am humble. Do not listen to the ego. It is the guard of the well-lit room, and it fears what is in the basement. Ask again, more gently. In what small, unacknowledged way might I be arrogant? Perhaps it is an intellectual arrogance. A subtle belief that you are smarter than everyone around you. If you still cannot find it, ask a different question. Under what circumstances could I become this? Or, what part of me wishes it had the freedom to be that arrogant, to take up that much space? Do this for each projection. See the manipulative friend and ask, where do I subtly try to control outcomes to get what I want? See the lazy family member and ask, what is my relationship to my own deep need for rest and being? This exercise is not about self-flagellation. It is about ownership. You are withdrawing your projections from the world and recognizing that the entire spectrum of human potential, the good, the bad, and the ugly, exists within you. This is the beginning of wholeness. Step 3. Dialogue with the dream figure. Scene. A person is sitting in a chair with their eyes closed. Across from them, in a hazy, dreamlike form, sits the shadowy monster from the mirror. It is silent and waiting. Voiceover. This is perhaps the most profound and direct method of shadow work, a technique Jung called active imagination. Choose one of the recurring figures from your dream journal. The pursuer, the monster, the critic. Find a time and place where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes. In your mind's eye, visualize this figure. See it as clearly as you can. Your instinct will be to run, to fight, or to dismiss it as just a dream. Resist this instinct. This time, you will not run. You will turn and face it. Hold your ground. Feel the fear, but do not let it control you. When you are ready, ask the figure a simple, direct question. You can speak it aloud or in your mind. Say, "What do you want from me?" And then you must do the hardest part. You must listen. Do not try to invent an answer. Wait for an answer to arise from your unconscious. It may come as a sentence. It may come as a single word. It may be a feeling, or a sudden image, or a memory. Perhaps the monster that chases you through dark corridors, when you finally turn and ask what it wants, will reply, "I want you to stop running." Perhaps the snarling wolf, when you ask what treasure it guards, will show you an image of your own lost creativity. Whatever the answer, receive it without judgment. Write it down in your journal. You have just opened a direct line of communication with your own shadow. You are no longer at war. You are in dialogue. This is the path to integration. Step 4. Conscious embodiment. The final step is to bring the energy of the shadow out of the basement and into the conscious world, but in a controlled and constructive way. Look at your journal. You have identified a shadow trait. Let's say it's aggression, which you've always repressed. You've dialogued with it and discovered its hidden treasure is assertiveness and the ability to protect your boundaries. Now, you must give this energy a small, conscious task. You must give the wild horse a small pasture to run in. Do not go and punch your boss. That would be a shadow possession, where the horse tramples you and escapes the basement entirely. Instead, find a low-stakes opportunity to embody healthy assertiveness. The next time a waiter brings you the wrong order, instead of quietly accepting it as you normally would, you will politely but firmly send it back. The next time you are asked to take on work you do not have time for, you will practice saying the simple, powerful word, "No." If your shadow trait is chaos and your hidden gold is spontaneity, plan 1 hour of your week where you have no plan. Go for a walk and let your feet decide where you go. These are small acts. But they are revolutionary. You are telling your shadow, "I see you. I value you. You have a place here. You do not need to burn the house down to get my attention." This is how you build trust with the disowned parts of yourself. This is how you learn to ride the horse. Phase 5. The proof voiceover. Does this process work? Does it lead to anything other than madness? For proof, we need only look at the life of our guide. Between 1913 and 1930, Carl Jung undertook what he called his confrontation with the unconscious. He intentionally induced a state of waking imagination to meet the figures that lived inside him. He recorded these dialogues and visions in a secret manuscript, his Red Book. In it, he met his shadow. He met figures like Philemon, an old wise man with the wings of a kingfisher, and Salome, a seductive and dangerous young woman. These were not abstract concepts to him. They were living, psychic realities. He spoke with them. He argued with them. He learned from them. Many of his colleagues at the time feared he was losing his mind, succumbing to the psychosis he treated in his patients. But Jung knew he was doing the opposite. He was navigating his own potential psychosis with the tools of his own making. This terrifying journey was not the destruction of his psyche, it was the crucible from which his entire life's work was forged. The concepts of the shadow, the anima and animus, the collective unconscious, all were born from this direct, personal experience. He did not just invent a theory. He survived its reality. He proved that the path into the abyss, when undertaken with consciousness, leads not to dissolution, but to a profound rebirth. For a more cautionary tale, a proof by negation, we can look to literature. Consider Robert Louis Stevenson's masterpiece, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Scene: a Victorian street, shrouded in fog. We see the respectable Dr. Jekyll walking, but his shadow on the wall is distorted, monstrous, the shape of Mr. Hyde. Voiceover. This is not merely a gothic horror story. It is one of the most brilliant psychological documents ever written. It is a perfect parable of the unintegrated shadow. Dr. Henry Jekyll is the model of the conscious ego. He is respectable, virtuous, rational, and completely identified with the good parts of himself. He has shoved all of his primitive instincts, his anger, his appetites, his shadow, into the basement. But the principle of psychological gravity asserts itself. The repressed content does not disappear. It coalesces. It gains power. And through a chemical potion, a perfect metaphor for any addiction or compulsive behavior used to silence the ego's control, Jekyll gives it form. He unleashes Mr. Hyde. Hyde is pure, unadulterated shadow. He is everything Jekyll is not: violent, impulsive, cruel, and free. At first, Jekyll believes he can control him, that he can dip into the energy of the shadow and then safely lock it away again. But he is wrong. The energy you repress is the energy that will eventually consume you. Mr. Hyde grows stronger with each expression, while Dr. Jekyll grows weaker. The civil war escalates until the basement door is kicked off its hinges and the monster takes over the house for good. The tragic lesson of Jekyll and Hyde is simple and absolute. Repression is not a viable strategy. It is a slow-motion suicide. The only way to deal with your own inner Mr. Hyde is not to create a potion to unleash him blindly in the dark, but to face him in the light of consciousness, and begin the difficult process of negotiation and integration. The strength of the monster must become the strength of the man, or the monster will devour the man whole. Phase 6. The call to action. Scene: we return to the surreal desert, now at sunrise. The grandfather clock's hands have stopped. A sense of peace and stillness pervades. The camera holds on this vast, quiet landscape. Voiceover. The journey into your own depths is the most essential journey you will ever take. It is the work of a lifetime, and it begins with a single, courageous step. A single moment of turning to face what you have been running from. Your homework begins now, in the space we share here. In the comments below, I invite you to share one monster from a dream you can remember. You do not need to analyze it or explain it. Simply describe the figure that pursues you, the presence that unnerves you in the dark. Is it a faceless man? An animal? A natural disaster? By externalizing it, you take the first step towards seeing it clearly. And you will find, in the responses of others, that you are not alone in the shadows. If you are ready to continue this exploration, to become a conscious cartographer of your own soul, then subscribe to Ego and Echo. We are here to provide the lantern and the compass for the journey inward. Meeting your shadow is the first great task. But the shadow is not the only autonomous figure that lives in the unconscious. Inside every man is a hidden feminine principle, the anima. Inside every woman, a hidden masculine, the animus. To understand them is the next stage of the work. Our session on the anima and animus, the inner man and woman in your dreams, is the logical next step. I have left the door open for you. Click the link, and our next session will begin. Scene: the camera slowly pulls back from the desert landscape, revealing it is all contained within a single human eye, which blinks once. Fade to black.